As the investigation into the mass shooting in Buffalo unfolds, we have been learning more and more about the suspect's alleged online posts. Pictures appear with him showing body armor, and his messages repeatedly mention the unfounded replacement conspiracy theory. So Cynthia Miller-Idriss is here in studio with us to talk more about how young people can become radicalized like this. She is the director of PERIL, the Polarization and Extremism Research Innovation Lab at American University. She's also the author of the book, Hate in the Homeland, the New Global Far Right. Thanks for joining us, because we do have a lot to talk to you about, because these sort of incidents are often perpetrated by young white men. I think you're so young, the world is your oyster. You haven't actually begun to sort of know the challenges that life is going to throw your way. What are you so angry about? And why are you concerned about being replaced? Why is it that this unfounded racist replacement theory finds fertile ground among this particular demographic?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, what we're seeing online, the conspiracy theory, it should be said, false conspiracy theory, picks up on age-old tropes and, dehumanizing concepts. So it's not new in a sense, but the label is new, right? So the label came out, this term, the Great Replacement, came out around 2011, and it got picked up immediately by white supremacist extremists globally. And then they're networked online. And so they started sharing and live streaming and sharing each other's attacks and attack plans and trying to motivate each other. And it became a kind of inspiration. I hate to use that word, but they get inspired by each other. And we saw this in the Buffalo case, where he clearly is trying to get others to follow his lead. So they get online, they go into dark spaces. They're often sharing it in joke form. So it seems funny. It desensitizes them. It's a meme. It's a video clip. What are you overreacting to? You're just a triggered snowflake, when your parents react or teachers react. And so they kind of get into this cycle, and it opens up a lot of rabbit holes.
And so the question becomes, when young people are exposed to this stuff online, this toxic information, what happens that takes them from just chatting with their friends or in an online group to the heinous acts that we saw perpetrated this weekend?
The major thing that happens, and how it happens is a question we don't know the answer to, but we know that what happens is that for most of these young men, in fact, all of the cases of, terrorist actors that we have seen recently from the white supremacist extremism side, they believe they're being heroic. So they come to believe that there's an existential threat that has to be acted upon, that there's a call to respond to it with violence, almost a moral reaction, they believe, that they have to save their people. And you'll hear these things, like in Pittsburgh, I can't stand by and watch while my people get slaughtered. I'm going in, right? They actually believe they are the ones who are defending their people and saving people. So it's a completely twisted, completely false, but it mobilizes violence because they believe they're being martyrs or heroic.
But not everyone goes to that level. Right. I mean, is there a certain type of personality that's particularly vulnerable, or if it's not the personality, the environment, the family, something?
There are definitely things that make people more vulnerable. So, young people in general are more susceptible to this kind of propaganda, although we have obviously seen adults be persuaded by disinformation, especially over the last couple of years. But they're looking for a sense of belonging. They're looking for identity, meaning in their lives. And so a lot of times that we focus on the hatred and the negative sides, and we should, of course, but we lack an understanding of how these sense of belonging or brotherhood even, and being a part of something bigger and better than themselves can bring them and pull them into it. So if kids are isolated, if they are anxious and they are far away, and so we saw these kinds of things in COVID, from other adults who might notice red flags and warning signs. They're stuck in their rooms, they're online all the time. Those kinds of things can draw them in.
But, we talked about this earlier. It sometimes frustrates me how we frame domestic terrorism in this country. When the gunman in the Pulse nightclub shooting carried out that heinous act of terror, there was no one on television talking about, well, what was his mental health like? What kind of childhood did he endure? Or what images was he exposed to? We just called it for what it was, an act of terror. Here, there are often ways that some try to frame the individual who carried out these acts and try to show their humanity in a way that you don't see with other people, either foreign-born or people of color.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Make no mistake, if this was a brown or a black person who was enacting this horrific crime, we would not be hearing the same language about deranged or mental health. We would not probably even hear the same kind of language about evil, right? So using that language that distances the act from, and use even phrases like I think President Biden said yesterday, this isn't who we are, right? Well, what if it is who we are, right? What if it is who we are as a country, that we have to interrogate those roots of white supremacy and help people understand what racism is and the legacy of it, so that when you encounter propaganda online, you're not persuaded by it. Right?
I think that's a great point. I was thinking to myself, this is a way of allowing us not to take responsibility or any sort of ownership for the result, for this violence, right? How could I know? It was probably a mental health issue. I lived in the same house as this person, and I didn't pick up on anything, you know?
And the responsibility, to me, being that there are some who have large platforms who inject this into the mainstream, and they use couch language and dog whistle language, but that ultimately filters into these chat groups. And
absolutely. And it also distances the responsibility. It makes it a law enforcement problem or a problem for
mental health.
Only for the mental health community to miss these extreme cases and then to surveil and monitor. But we can't
Cynthia,
ban our way out of this.
Just because we only have a few. She said something to me earlier that I want our audience to understand. You made an interesting point about how we treat it here in this country as a law enforcement issue, because I asked her about the terrorist attacks in Norway in 2011 and what Norway did in the wake of that, what other countries, Canada, has done in the wake of attacks of domestic terrorism in their countries as opposed to us. And what did you learn? Yeah,
so a lot of these other countries, Germany, Norway, New Zealand, Canada, treat this issue not just as a security and law enforcement problem, but also as a societal problem. They have a dozen agencies working on it, not just Homeland Security, but education, Health and Human Services, youth, culture, the arts, labor, right?
Meaning you spend some money.
You spend some money and you invest. They invest in research. They invest in prevention. They get evidence about what works, and they invest early. Digital literacy, civic education, anti-racism work, and countering anti-Semitism and other kinds of forms of supremacism from the earliest ages. So you can't just wait till it gets violent and then expect to catch every case.
So that's what government can do. Let's bring it closer to home, literally and figuratively. What about parents? Vlad and I were sort of joking yesterday about how we couldn't keep our bedroom door closed. My mother would be busting in like a SWAT team if I closed it
or
for 5 minutes.
Or take it off the hinge.
What are you doing in there?
Kept it closed too often.
Yeah. And so I'm a parent, and I can admit that my daughter spends time online. I don't know everything that she's consuming.
Absolutely.
So what should parents be looking out for?
I'm really sympathetic to parents on this point, especially in the pandemic era. It's really difficult to know what your kids are doing online. We do have a parents and caregivers guide that hopefully we can put the link up that helps parents understand, produced in partnership with Southern Poverty Law Center, with warning signs, resources, where to go to get more help. But one of the things is pay attention, ask questions. When you hear your kids saying things that, one of our warning signs is if they talk about a great replacement, right, or mention white genocide, they're encountering bad content online. Find out what it is. Ask them to explain memes. Ask them to explain, how does online gaming work? What are the chat rooms like? And if you approach it with curiosity, you can get a lot of information and then follow up with more resources that you can get out of our guide.
Cynthia, your book is called Hate in the Homeland, The New Global Far Right, which suggests that there is a level of globalism that's involved in this, but there's one thing that's different in this country is that people have access to weapons, and in other countries it's much harder
weapons,
to get. Cynthia Miller-Idriss, thank you so much. Really fascinating discussion. Appreciate it.